Welcome to another episode of We Don't Die, where my goal is to give you evidence that although our bodies will disappear, we survive physical death. Every episode, we explore this topic with men and women who have some incredible stories, and many have made sharing the reality of life after death their life's purpose. I'm your host, Sandra Champlain, author of the international bestseller, We Don't Die, A Skeptic's Discovery of Life After Death. And I'm thrilled today to introduce you to Mr. Peter Anthony. And although Peter and I are just brand new friends, he's a spectacular human being. Sometimes you just know when you talk to somebody that you'll be connected for life. I hope Peter feels the same way. He's been referred to as the Palm Springs Psychic. He's got an extraordinary gift, and he helps people worldwide with his coaching. He's done things like serving as a psychic detective for the police force. He's helped locate lost children. He's done numerous things with radio, with television. And I know he's up to something big in the TV world, and I'll let him explain all this. But Peter, welcome to our show.
Oh, thank you so much. And to all those who are listening, I cannot thank you enough for tuning in to Sandra's show. I mean, it means the world to me. And I think she just said it, even though we are new friends, from the moment we spoke to each other briefly this morning, there was an instant connection. And so I hope all of you that are listening to this see that. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Sure. And there really is strength in numbers. I often talk about like years ago, everybody believed that the earth was flat, and it took many people believing the same thing to actually change that conversation, even though the world has been round. And I think more and more as time goes on, years ago when we were kids, very rarely did we hear about a psychic or a medium, or if we did, my dad would kind of frown upon it and things like that. Well, now here we're living in 2014 and it's just a regular conversation. So the more we talk about it, the more we connect people to people. I think the more we'll feel confident sharing our own stories, and so life after death will be as regular as the earth being round.
Well, I always say where two are gathered, especially in sacred conversation or sacred places, changes occur. And so again, to the listening audience, if you are that one person, living in somewhere in middle USA and this is your first time listening to this type of show, understand that I'm connecting to you and that you're connecting to me and you're connecting to Sandra as well.
Oh, thanks for
So
that.
let's just go in
Go
and
in.
talk about
How
it.
about you talk about what you love talking about the most, and that's you. I'm
Well,
saying that being funny because we
me,
all
me, me,
do.
me, me.
I don't mean ego-based, but there
No,
are
I know.
things, we all have things that give us passion. And I don't think you were, well, you were born extraordinary. We all were. But if you could just tell us a little bit about how you got into this. I'm guessing you live in Palm Springs, as you're the
I
Palm
do now,
Springs psychic.
yes.
But
Yeah.
how did you get into this world?
I well, it was just well, it all begins with the near-death experience, and the backstory of that is that I was working with CBS. I was a young boy starting out. I did an internship, and then CBS approached me, and I worked my way all the way to the top of the Dan Rathers and the Diane Sawyer when she was there, and
Wow.
which led me to working with three first ladies, and my career was just on the go.
Wow.
And in the middle of all my amazing beginnings with CBS, I had a near-death experience. And that changed everything in my entire life. It took me a year to recover. I had a perforated viscus, which means like an internal bleeding.
Uh-huh.
I went to the doctor. I was misdiagnosed, and I let it go because when you're in the television film industry, I mean, long hours are long hours, and you work and you don't call in sick, especially if you're new like I
Right.
was. Fast forward, it took me about a year to recover, and I lost my eyesight. I was in a wheelchair. I went from 165 pounds I was competing in, amateur
Mm-hmm.
bodybuilding shows, and I went from that to 89 pounds with a staph infection on my face. So
Oh
the
my.
medical problems were great, but the near-death experience for me was the catalyst that changed my life, and let me tell you why. Going in, before the near-death experience, I was agnostic. I believed in nothing other than work, money, sex, rock and roll, and drugs.
Okay. I
That was
know.
me.
Yeah.
Fun, fun, fun. Let's go party. Let's
Right.
go have a good time. And when I crossed over on November the 11th, 1987, at 11:11 p.m., everything changed. And I remember being on that operating table, and before I crossed over, I actually saw myself, as so many do people who have had near-death experiences, hovering over their body,
Hmm.
and I could hear everything. I could hear thoughts. I could see this, what I call, many people have spoken about the tunnel, and mine was a blue-white tunnel. I call mine the bullseye. And before I was sucked down into that vacuum of a tunnel, I began to experience, as I said, the entire hospital where I was, what each patient was suffering from, what families were experiencing in terms of grief. And as I crossed over to the other side, I was sucked into this bullseye tunnel. Every thought that we have, I don't care what time of day, becomes a part of our collective day in and day out, and it is released at nighttime during the REM cycle. And where it goes, which is going to be fascinating to your audience, is there's this thing called the ozone that protects the planet. And our thoughts go to this ozone and beyond. Every thought, every activity, everything that we do in our day in and day out lives has effect on this planet. What happens here in Palm Springs happens in China. What happens in China happens in,
Hmm.
Arkansas. And so we are all connected to one thought, to one theme, to one, what I call universal love. And that is what I now consider God. And I never believed much in God, and I certainly didn't. Being born and raised Catholic, I could say that I was my education was shoved down my throat. So
Ditto.
so
I
by
got
the
the
time
same.
I decided to become an adult, this is the furthest thing from my truth.
Right.
That all changed, and so for me, the paramount theme of what so many people who have near-death experiences witness is the thing called love.
Hmm.
Absolutely incredible. How that changed me was that when I came back and was in recovery, I knew that the medications that doctors were giving me were toxic for my system. I didn't know at the time that once you've had a near-death experience, that your spiritual DNA changes,
Hmm.
and that alcohol, any form of drugs, and food combinations, especially today's foods, have great repercussion on the body because what's happened, you've come back a completely different person. I went as an artist. I had a scholarship, an art scholarship, and a year after my recovery, I lost the ability to paint, to sculpt, and I came back as a writer. I went in as an introvert. I came out as an extrovert.
Hmm.
So everything changed, and what changed most was my spiritual connection to God and why we're here on this planet. And every person that is listening to this day, we all have purpose. And if you are here and you're doubting and you don't believe in God, that's not important as much as if you have no connection to God at this point in time, flowers bloom at different times, as did I. And if you are on this metaphysical or spiritual path, you will connect. And you will connect because it's almost like serendipitous how you connect, as did I. Working at CBS, I connected to Shirley MacLaine when she was doing Out on a Limb, you
Wow.
know, and then it went to Greer Garson, who was, obviously an Academy Award-winning actress of the Golden Era, and her connection to this planet was simply this: that we are nothing more than mere tenants on this planet, and it is our job as tenants on this planet to leave Mother Earth better off than when we found it.
Hmm.
So I'm connected to that thought. For me, moving to Palm Springs had more to do with my near-death experience. I used to work on a television hit series called Sightings,
Yep.
where my near-death experiences were utilized, where I traveled around the world working on paranormal sightings, they called it, lost murder cases, homicide cases, forgotten murder cases, what we call ghost sightings that actually had a charged energy
Right.
grid that needed someone like my service. I didn't know what I was doing at the time. I just knew when I closed my eyes and I meditated and connected to Source, to God, to Spirit, that I could help um, these officers do their jobs. And back in the 90s when I was doing this, and even the
Uh-huh.
early 2000s, psychics were kind of looked as the witch doctors and the circus
Correct.
acts.
Sure.
So it changed my life, and I began to write in the late 90s about the extraordinary events that took place in my life. Um, while I was still working, I got up every morning at 4:30, wrote to 7:30, 8 o'clock, and went to work and traveled all around the planet. and I secretly lied to the people that I worked with and was going off and shooting paranormal shows.
Oh, that's
No,
funny.
yeah, and working on murder cases and haunted cemeteries and castles and golf courses and haunted caves. And then I became the talk show, I guess, vagabond of the 90s, and it was the punching bag of near-death experiences. The Jerry
Oh,
Springer shows and the Sally Jesse Raphael and all those, dramatic talk shows where, get on and get the circus acts on, and that's just crucify them. And so I had
man.
to learn to stand in my own truth.
Thank you. Let me just interject a second. Thank you
Sure,
for
sure, sure.
being that kind of person because nowadays it's just so regular. I mean, I have
Mm.
so many friends that are flipping around to the paranormal shows and all that, but not remembering how it was before. And in my mind, I'm thinking about Ellen DeGeneres when she came out on national
Oh,
television that she
yeah.
was gay and how the whole conversation about homosexuality was so different before that. And now, I really do think she had something to do with
Well, she planted a
people being,
seed.
yeah, exactly. And so with the whole psychic business and paranormal and everything. I mean, it takes people to do that. And you were right there on the front line. And I just really acknowledge you for no matter what was coming at you, even if you had to lie and still do it. I mean, that you did it because you paved the way for now this conversation, although it's not, everybody isn't bought into the reality of life after death yet. But I mean, people are really starting to. The conversation is changing. So thank you for all that you've done and you've been driven to do that, Peter.
Oh, you're so welcome. There's this thing called integrity, that every thought and every action that we do on this planet, as I said, has great repercussion. My job daily, I begin my day with the gratitude walk. What am I blessed with and who I had conversation with the day before and what did I learn from that person? How was I able to assist that person with even sometimes just a hello or a smile?
Yeah.
People say that, well, that's easy because you're in the television and film industry. No, it's not.
You're still a human
It's,
being.
I mean,
Yes.
I think my job on this planet is to create peace and harmony and laughter.
I like that.
And if I can go off and one day and have that conversation with a complete stranger. I had a conversation with two homeless men the other day while we were filming our paranormal show, and they were kind of you know, a little cautious about coming in because obviously the streets haven't been kind to them. And I welcomed them with open arms, and they became what we call the hidden gem of the show, the source of knowledge. These are the people on the front line who are experiencing these things on the streets that no one knows about.
Right.
And they led me to Al Capone's secret hideout place that is haunted. One conversation, one choice of asking a question leads to a series of beautiful things to occur.
Yeah, and you never know who you're with and where it's going to lead to. There's often times that I personally, I've got a book that's out in the world, of course, and I want to be big and famous, not ego based, but just I've been told by many people that they resisted committing suicide because of my words. Well, then I feel like I have this moral responsibility to get it out in the world. So how do I get it out there the fastest? And one thing that it happens to me, and I think I'm human, and this is just what happens, is I think I should be farther along than I am by now. And then, Peter, I will be sitting next to somebody on the airplane. Um, one I was trying to think, how does one get into Sam's Club and BJ's Club and Costco with their books? And lo and behold, there was a man on the same aisle as me, eavesdropping on my conversation with the woman I'm sitting next to, and he happens to be one of those buyers. I mean, I had to be in that seat. He had to be where he was for that all to happen. So for each one of us to realize, like, our life might not look great right now, and it may not look like we're on any path to anything, and there might be a lot of hardships, but I guarantee that everything we're all going through right now is leading to something. It is part of the path. Wouldn't you agree?
I believe that every moment is a sacred moment. And if we would stop projecting ahead about the apartment and the relationship and when am I going to find love and what about my job, and
Yes, and what
you
we
see,
don't
those aren't,
have, right?
yeah, those are not genuine thoughts. That comes from a lack of consciousness, meaning I don't have enough, so therefore I ask for this. Therefore, if I get that, then I'll have enough. Then we go back to the spinning wheel of the merry-go-round, and then we're back to square zero again. You learn nothing from that. But if you begin your day with gratitude and thank you, God, for my conversation with Sandra today, and thank you, God, for she and I connecting, you'll be a part of my gratitude walk tomorrow. And you put that thought energy, what I call an intelligent frequency, out to the planet. And when you acknowledge just some of the simplest things in life, then Source, God, however you perceive it, will
Uh-huh.
send to you more. And you bless that, and the more and more you bless something, the more and more you realize thoughts become things, whether it's a book. And I
Right.
also, like you, have a book. It's called Keymaster. And I've learned to understand that my book is like, the Keymaster is like garlic. You either like it or you don't. And those who love garlic will read the book.
I love garlic. I'll read
You
your
know
book.
what I'm saying?
I
So,
do.
so your audience is those people who love garlic, and that's who
Yes.
you cater to. So there's no, bestseller attached to it as much as
No.
thank you, God, for allowing one person to read my book. And when you get those emails from these people who've read your book all across the planet, and you hear how much your words are so important, that your job on this planet is to affect one person throughout your lifetime, and if you connected to that one person somewhere off in the Middle East, you've done your job. So imagine daily that everything that you've written, everything that you've exposed yourself to and opening your heart to humanity changes consciousness with that person, then you've done your job. And the
Thank you for
power of what we
that.
do here can change 70,000 people in terms of their collective consciousness. So our
Mm.
conversation today will affect one person, will affect 10, will affect 100, will affect 1,000, and so on until all humanity is changed. So one step is important.
Yes, and I'm thinking too, a couple things. One is you mentioned gratitude. I was driving home, and I always try to listen to something empowering when I drive.
Mm,
But there was an interview with Louise Hay, and she was comparing gratitude to giving a kid a gift. And she says if you get the kid that is grateful and kisses you and hugs you and oh my gosh, this is the greatest gift ever, you're more inclined to give the kid another gift. Well, you get the kid that it's not good enough, it's not the color I wanted. Well, you may not be giving that kid so many gifts. And so what she was saying is as human beings, the more excited we can be, the more grateful we can be about what we get or what we have, the universe will give us more. And I just thought that was a very funny picture in my
it
mind.
is. It's universal truth, and it works. And unfortunately, for thousands and thousands of years, we've had one collective thought, more and more and more. Our rise and fall of every civilization has been based upon greed. And greed also means our greedy thoughts. I
Right.
want this, and I need that, and I want more money, and if I get this job, again, it goes back to our thoughts create and run inner dialogue. And I've learned to really, watch my thoughts, and I've learned to examine the truth of my thoughts, because then the thoughts that I begin in terms of inner peace thoughts will create inner peace or outer peace manifestations. So I'm all about peace, peace, peace. I teach my clients the first thing you do is start your day with peace and end your day with peace. When you get in that peaceful mode, then you go out and do your gratitude walk. And then you start your day with gratitude and you end your day with gratitude, and watch the changes that take place in your life. You want the book, you want the bestseller, you want the relationship, you want the love, then you must deserve it in terms of your inner thoughts.
I think you're talking just to me with all of those because I am single and thinking all those thoughts. So
Well, we all think
I
those.
know we do, but just I'm like he's talking right to me. And it's interesting too because I think we all have this inner skeptic in us that, well, this all sounds so good, but I'm thinking, I've heard it from, the quantum physicists that we are it you know it let me back up. It's easy for people to discount some of the things we have to say as it's kind of that woo woo talk, the spiritual stuff. But if you take us right down to the atoms we're made up of, I mean, it's proven we are all energy. If you put a camera inside one of the atoms that make up our molecules, it can't record anything. It's just empty because all that can be picked up is vibrating energy. So what you're talking about is energy. What you're talking about, thoughts being energy, or energy, everything we're looking at is energy. I think how these gifts come back to us is like a boomerang effect, when we
Oh,
are
absolutely,
grateful and we
absolutely.
put out that positive energy. But it really takes something, and I think, just from my own point of view, and probably you too, the more we talk about it, the more we bathe ourselves in this, the more whether it's a radio show you listen to or a book you read, or if you're driving and you're listening to something, the more of this you can get, I think the more we'll remember who we really are, and we'll be able to start the day in peace or with gratitude. Because I know, Peter, several days of not talking about my book, or I have a day job doing, I'm a chef. I travel with race car teams, but several days of doing that, it's like I forget this. So I think your waking up in peace and your gratitude and making actual practices of that will help people keep that alive for themselves.
Well, how I look at it this way, and it's kind of very simple. We have church every day. You and I get up and church begins.
Huh.
That's it. I don't look at Sunday as being the day of going to church and I do all my good stuff for God. My church day begins the moment I get up and the moment I go to bed. And so if we understand that every thought has great energy attached to it, whether it's cause and effect
Mm-hmm.
or whether it's just the effect. I try to eliminate the shouldas and the couldas and the wouldas in my life. I should have done this or I could have done that. Maybe if I'd done this differently. That is now a part of my past. And let me tell you why. When I crossed over, and so many people's lives, play back before them, mine included. And I was fast forwarded to, or I should say, actually reversed back to my a year as a sophomore in high school, and
Mm-hmm.
I late to this day, and will be late for the rest of my life. I tried to be punctual, but it seems like there's always something getting in the way, like a conversation, right, with
Right.
someone I have to say hello to. But I'll fast forward. So on my way to my 3 o'clock English class, and there was a mentally challenged boy by the name of Mikey that everyone picked on and made fun of. And I, as I was reviewing this relationship or lack of relationship of helping this young boy out, I looked down on Mother Earth and looked down into Fort Worth, Texas, and I could see me not taking the time to help Mikey out, and I could hear my thought, well, I don't have time because it's almost 3 o'clock, and Mr. McCoy's going to be mad at me because I'm always late to my English class. And this other thought came in and said, help him out. And I didn't. And he began to cry, and I thought he can just take care of himself, and he shouldn't be here. And I made an excuses for my, what I call my inventory.
Right.
In my near-death experience, when I was having my conversation with, and I don't want to use the word God because it's beyond God, but it is God. Um, it wasn't there. There wasn't no. Well, there wasn't a judgment of you should have stopped and helped this kid out, and you're a bad person. What came back to me was that everything that we do on this planet is based upon love, and that perhaps next time, since you decided to go back, that take the time to help that person out. And what happened, I was fast forwarded into when he went home and he talked to his parents and he was crying and, Mommy, why do all the people pick on me and they don't like me, and I try to be so nice to everyone and they're always hurting me. And his mother broke down in tears and cried. I'm getting emotional, as did the father. And I witnessed that, and I said, Bernard, when you go back to Mother Earth, you must help everyone out. And if you're late because you're helping a homeless person, if you're late because you're helping someone who's in an elevator and you can see that they're sad, then so be it. I'd rather take the time to help somebody and
Wow.
know that they need me at that moment, because one person can make a difference, and let it begin with me. And so I came back with that. And that's why I say to your listening audience, thoughts are the most important thing in your life. Work on your thoughts, work on your life, and work on your authentic purpose, and you'll find what you're here to do.
I am so moved, and my eyes are filled with tears too, because I just by you telling that story, I'm thinking about people that I've blown off or didn't have the time for, or just the opposite, those that I took the extra time to do it. And no one will ever know, and no, I don't get any brownie points for it, but just in
But
that
you
moment,
know,
I
and
know.
you know that we all know that when we've done something,
Yeah.
people laugh at me because, when I go to the grocery store, I shop at Walmart. And, it's a crazy little shopping center here. It's always busy.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I'm the person who goes back, and when I see the grocery carts in the middle of the parking lot, I'm the person who goes, puts them back in the cart bin. And my friends, what are you doing?
Who does
I
that?
have to do it because they're all over the place. And if you're thinking of the bigger picture, what happens if one of these cart rolls and hits a car? So, so it's not about, but, I'm doing it and look at me what a great person I am, but I'm thinking
No.
about It's the right thing to do because it is the right thing to do.
And there is, Peter, something about integrity, not just the fact, like you know in your heart to stop and talk to somebody or to pick up the cart. I think the more integrity we have, the more power we have, the more miracles that show up. Like we're just in line with what the truth is.
hmm Well, for me, my near-death experience, what it taught me is I have to die on an operating table, from a perforated viscus, bleeding to death internally and externally, to learn how to live again.
Yeah.
And that's what I've done. I've learned to live again. I've learned to love again. And as I said, every day that I'm alive, I can see now. The doctor said I would never run again. Well, I can't run, but I can walk.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see again, and I know what it's like to be in a wheelchair. I know what it's like to lose your vision. I know what it's like to be given 3 months to live and prove the doctors wrong.
Oh my.
So you know what I'm saying? So
I
in
do.
my near-death experience, when they said to me, you have 3 months to live, and I refused all medications, I refused chemotherapy, and
Hmm.
I sought out the healing services of a shaman Indian in Santa Fe. And what the doctors couldn't do in 1 year, he did in 1 week. It
That's
all stopped.
crazy. And
And so
great, and the evidence of what's possible.
right. And once I made a commitment to understand what my authentic purpose was, then I began to write. I've never written a book before, but I
No.
sat down and I
Yeah.
said, okay, God, so let's just write this book. And I did, and I wrote from my heart. And then, here it goes. So provide the people, the places, and the situation. So say, okay, I need a good editor. So one of my clients worked at Paramount, so she set me up with someone from People Magazine and the LA Times, and she was an agnostic, such as I,
Right.
and her husband was as well. And they read my first 3 chapters and decided to not only edit the book, but gave me a major discount. So you see, if you understand that you have purpose,
Hmm.
God provide the people show up. Provide the places. My job is to show up every day, no matter what that place is, such as Palm Springs, and also the situations. And if we understand that, then the path is already miraculously paved.
Yeah. Peter, we're
And
getting
then,
close on time.
oh
I don't want to
no,
interrupt you. I know.
oh no,
You can
sorry,
go
sorry.
anywhere you want. You can give your contact information, tell us what PSP is, um,
Well,
but we
my
only have
contact
about
information
two
is
minutes left.
www.peteranthonyvisions.com. I'm working on a paranormal show called PSP, where we're
Cool.
actually going around working on haunted cemeteries and Indian burial grounds and the businesses and toy stores that are haunted. My job on this show is not to do the witchy woo-woo and boo where you get scared, but provide why it happened, how it's affecting these people, and what can I do to help them and the spirit to cross over.
Oh, that's awesome. I
Yeah,
I am just so delighted to connect, and I would love to have you back on
I would love
because
it.
I wanted to keep these interviews short because I know myself I have a short attention span and just give
Sure.
everybody a taste of what's possible. So I'm going to thank you again, and it was really, really my pleasure to have you both
Thank you
on the
so very
show
much.
and then my new friend. I'll support you in everything you're up to. Just let me know how I can help. And to our listener, I want you to remind you to visit we don't die radio.com and you can find out more about Peter Anthony and we'll have his links there as well. You can also get connected with our past guests and listen to other episodes. You can join our Insiders Club and just enter your name and email address. And I'm doing free prizes every month, really great things. And I'll give you some special gifts as a thank you for listening. So this is Sandra Champlain, and I do believe that life is an education for the soul and that your life here on earth is important. And in the words of Neil Donald Walsh, also a great author, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. So I invite each and every one of us, Peter and Sandra included, to take one step out of our comfort zone towards our dream.